Blaine Fowler, welcome back to Studio B.
What's up, guys? Have you ever felt better about a 3-3 schedule at BYU in history?
Never. 1941, I did, but other than that,
did they start 3-3 in 41?
I think they were 3-3.
Yeah,
tough schedule.
It's funny how the kind of schedule you play and expectations about new offenses and new defenses and taking time, that everybody was looking to see if they make progress and get better every week, and that's what we were all going to be happy with. And man, they've just done that. They're just getting better every week. And so they're 3-3, and we're all going, yes, this program is right where it needs to be.
It's funny that you say that about 3-3 because Ed Lamb, I was speaking with he and his wife after the game in Lansing, and he said that verbatim. 3-3 has never felt so good.
And BYU's turned a corner here where they were 1-3, and it was looking a little scary there against Toledo, where you go, okay, if they don't get this one, a bowl game might be in question. Now the bowl game's not in question.
Shouldn't be.
Are they going to get 7, 8, 9? If they ran the table, 10 wins.
Remember what we said before the season started? We said, boy, if they could be 3-3 in those first 6, that'd be good.
4-4 in the first 8.
And we said if we said 4-2 would be, whoa, they're way ahead of schedule. So at 1-3 we were going, man, they're not. If they're going to be 2-4, that's okay. That's okay. And then we said if they could get to 7 wins, that would be what we would expect. And it would be a good season. 8 would be, wow, this is a really impressive season. And 9 would be craziness. Who knows now?
9.
Who knows? 9 would be craziness.
9, there's a chance for 9. 10 would be crazy, but at Boise
10
State.
including a bowl game.
Yeah, no, we're talking including a bowl
game.
Yeah, if they get 10, then this would be, you'd have to put this team up there with that 96 team that finished in the top 10.
Whoa.
You'd have to.
Difficulty of schedule.
Yeah, because the difficulty of schedule with 10 wins. Now, that's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I'll take 8 or 9.
But I'll take 8 or 9. If they get to 8 or 9, I'm going to go, wow, this was a phenomenal year, and it sets them up for unbelievable success moving forward. So they're right on schedule. In fact, they're ahead of schedule, really, because of the way they've played. This 3-3 is a good 3-3 because we just keep watching them get better every week, especially up front. And that's the thing. When Ty Detmer came in, he and I talked for a long time, just one-on-one, about what he wanted to do. And he said, hey, people have to understand, they're going to understand that the reason we threw it 55 times a game back in the day is because of matchups. Teams were huge on defense and physical and built to stop the run. And so he said, so we said, well, you know what, we're going to do what they're not set up to do. We're going to throw it all over the place and run great routes. He says, now teams are set up to defend the spread. Linebackers are faster and quicker. He says, what can we recruit? Big physical people where we can handle people and be balanced. That's what we need to do. That's going to be our differential advantage. And I'm watching him mold this thing into exactly what he told me he was going to. That's what's impressive.
Star power generally associates with really good teams, and BYU has an absolute star in Jamal Williams. He's been the focus of our conversation today and a ton of fun to watch this year. Our Twitter question is, how would you best sum up Jamal Williams' year in 140 characters or less? So I'm not going to hold you to 140 characters, but how
we'll count.
Could somebody go 1, 2?
How would you sum it up?
You like the count. 1, 2, 3. No, explosive, physical, and I don't know the word to describe what he brings to the psyche of this offense. He just has an impact on everybody around him with his attitude and the way he plays. He makes everybody better because his enthusiasm about the game and the physical, aggressive nature that he plays with, it carries over. And other guys start to do it too, and it's contagious. And this offensive line, he's been so good about recognizing them after every game. When he has a phenomenal game, the first thing he says is, man, those guys up front are getting it done, and the tight ends are blocking, and the receivers are blocking downfield. So they just want to continue to do it. They want to show everybody how good this guy is. They're all on board, and that's something special that Jamal has that not every back has. He's completely unselfish, and he raises the level of everyone around him. That's a special back. That's the kind of guy you want on your NFL roster.
And it seems like BYU has continued to get better, especially, like you said, on the offensive line. You could argue, okay, you kind of just are what you are and you do what you do. But that's not the case with this offensive line. How are they better in games 4, 5, and 6?
I think part of it is they were learning a completely new scheme to start the season. And remember, the 5 guys that are starting right now were not one of them's in the position that Mike Empey and this group thought they would be in when they came out of spring ball. In the summer, when they were making plans, they thought they had Wilcox. They thought Lapawahu was going to be healthy. They thought they had Kyle Johnson. They were
Parker Dot center.
They were projecting Idy to be a guard, which in the NFL is what they're still projecting him to be. And he's playing left tackle. And they were, Norman was probably going to be a backup. And man, how has he played? And Karoma, they didn't know about Karoma. He wasn't even in his spring ball. And the work that Tijon put in the offseason was impressive. And the way he bought in the fall was impressive. So they're starting with 5 guys that aren't the 5 guys they thought were going to be there in the positions they're in. And so there was this learning curve. And at first you could see they wanted to be physical, but they were thinking. And now over the course of the season, they've gotten to the point where now they know exactly what they're supposed to do, and they're unbelievably aggressive. So they're smacking people in the face, and they're getting off co-op double teams and getting downfield and getting to linebackers, and they're getting on safeties. And Ben Cahoon has this receiver core blocking like crazy, and Steve Clark has the tight end group. We watch Baldery. We talk about his catches, but the way he's blocking is fantastic. And so I think it's a product of them understanding now, and now they don't have to think about what they're doing. Now they're just reacting, and now they're going out and smacking people. And so it's all coming together. And the fact that they're doing it with guys that they didn't know were going to be the guys is even more impressive. And I tweeted out yesterday, Mike Empey has been back-to-back offensive line coach of the week for one of the big national coaching sites because I think people recognize what they're getting done. And they're fitting into what they want to do offensively. So I'm telling you, Michigan State is younger this year. It's a reload year for them. But they have great talent up front. And BYU manhandled them up front.
They beat a Big Ten power at their own stinking game. It was impressive.
Yeah, it was. And what did we hear the week before from Toledo's coach? They remind me of a Big Ten team, and they play Big Ten teams. And that's what Ty's building. And you could argue who's better, the Big Ten or the SEC. I think the SEC is deeper, but at the top, the Big Ten may be, you got Alabama in the SEC, and you got Ohio State and Michigan in the Big Ten. That's a great league. So if people tell you that you remind them of the good teams in that league, that's a great compliment.
That is a huge compliment. Now BYU has an SEC team and another team that's on the fritz a little bit, Mississippi State. Lined open up at 4. It's now up to 7, by the way, for BYU. What do you think of the matchup with the Bulldogs?
So this is interesting because BYU keeps going back and forth, and I love the fact that they've shown they can play at different styles and still stay in the game. So this team reminds me more of West Virginia than they do. That's probably, of all the teams they've played, the team they remind me of most. And remember, this was a game that was a high-scoring, up and down the field game. You hope that BYU learns some things defensively to maybe slow that type of offense down a little bit. And offensively, in that second half is when I really felt like the light bulb came on for BYU against West Virginia. And these athletes on defense remind me of the West Virginia athletes on defense. So I think BYU is going to continue to run the football. Mississippi State is going to come and play at altitude on a short week against an offense with a lot of confidence right now. And I think the defense is going to do a better job than they did against West Virginia. And that's why all of the national line setters are saying, yeah, BYU's the favorite here.
Do you have any concerns about, and I'm talking major concerns about the fact that Travis Tuiloma is still not 100%, Butch Pau still has the sprained MCL, and we don't know what's happening with Troy Warner, who has been out with that hamstring situation for a while.
Yeah, and hamstring's a touchy thing because that's just kind of day to day. Like he could all of a sudden one day go, you know what? It doesn't feel tight anymore and it feels great, and he could play. The young guys are getting a lot of experience. I really like the way Dian Lake has been playing. I think he's getting better every week, and so they're developing depth there. So when Troy does come back, which could be this week, they're better off there because they have a lot of talent and they can play with, and they've been playing a lot of freshmen at corner, And so Butch is. He's the biggest loss over there because he is such an instinctive downhill player. And like Jamal on offense, he sets the tone because he just smacks people around with a gigantic smile on his face. And he keeps coming downhill and just blowing up people. And everybody wants to get in on the act. So I think they miss his presence over there. But last week, I thought they took a step forward without him. Butch might play this week. So he's iffy. So I do think he'll play by Boise State with the injury that he has. But there's a chance he could play this week. Travis played more snaps last week and was more effective in my mind. I watched him specifically to see. So he's coming along. His conditioning's getting there. It's hard to simulate. You can do all the work in the training room, right? And you can say, hey, I'm 100% ready to go. But there's a difference between doing that and then getting in there and just fighting hosses that weigh 330 pounds for 60 snaps in a game. So he's not quite ready for that, but I think he's ready for 30 snaps or more. and he was very effective in the snaps he played last week. So I think they're okay on the offensive or defensive front.
What can we expect tonight on after further review?
Well, we're gonna go review that game from last week, and you're gonna see us point out a lot of really good plays up front and the things that they did well up front on the offensive side and the defense. We're going to show you where they made a lot of progress. And, of course, we're going to take a few plays where they can do some things from a technique perspective to get better. Brian and Dave Nixon do a great job with that, especially on the defensive side, of helping us all understand better how technique can make you better. And the fun thing is, the things we're talking about, we're watching them get better at every week. So it seems
That's
like
awesome.
we talk about something last week and go, man, they can do better here. Those coaches see the same things. They're breaking down the same film, and we watch them get better every week. That's impressive. That's good coaching.
Blaine Fowler on display tonight, 7 Eastern, 5 Mountain on BYU TV with the rest of the guys on After Further Review. Thanks for the time, Blaine.
You bet, guys.